No banks, no fees, no inflation. These are the potential perks of this thing called Bitcoin. But is Bitcoin really the money of the future?
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin. It's all the rage, but what the hell is it? And why should you care? In a nutshell, it's an electronic currency. Imagine buying and selling without any middlemen or banks, and in complete anonymity. Every transaction's recorded in a public log online, but names of buyers and sellers are never revealed. That's why some call it the wild, wild west for criminals. Bitcoins are stored in a digital wallet in the cloud or on your computer. You can buy furniture, flights, even haircuts online and use them at bars, restaurants, and other businesses in the real world. There's now even a Bitcoin ATM in British Columbia. And last week, someone bought a $100,000 Tesla car using only Bitcoins. Is it the currency of the future?
Money can be sent from here to Hong Kong and back instantly for free.
But not everyone is sold, and some can't even get their heads around the concept, including former Fed Chair Alan Greenspan.
You have to really stretch your imagination to infer what the intrinsic value of Bitcoin is. I haven't been able to do it. Maybe somebody else can.
For those who can stretch their imaginations, here are the 3 ways to get your hands on Bitcoins. You can buy them online, transfer them to and from other users, or mine them on your computer. That's how new Bitcoins are created, when someone digs them up by solving very complex math problems online. Currently, roughly 25 Bitcoins are mined every 10 minutes. So, is this the end of the George Costanza wallet? Or is Bitcoin a bubble about to burst?
And now a man who's always looking for alternatives to the non-gold-backed U.S. dollar, former congressman and presidential candidate Ron Paul. He's the host of RonPaulChannel.com. Mr. Paul, Dr. Paul, good to see you as always. Thanks for joining us. So you say if enough people use Bitcoin, it could help bring down the dollar. You think that's a real possibility? No, am I getting what you said wrong?
Well, I think it's a little bit the other way. When the dollar's in trouble, which it will get in trouble, that will be one of the alternatives, and I guess it'll be a play on it, and the more Bitcoins are used, the worse it will be for the dollar. But something has to happen to the dollar. So I think that's where the real problem is. And Mr. Greenspan said that he doesn't understand the intrinsic value of a Bitcoin, and quite frankly, I don't either. But I want to ask him, what about the intrinsic value of a dollar? You know, nobody knows what that is. So I think it's an alternative, just one of the alternatives. And if there's momentum, then people are going to leave, and maybe there'll be other electronic monies, and there'll be gold. But, you know, we came terribly close to this in 1979 when they took interest rates up to 21% to save the dollar. And maybe next time it won't be so successful. But the dollar has been under attack. Since the Fed was created in 1913, it's lost 97% of its value. And the end stages of a paper currency always goes very rapidly. Although it's been gradual for these 100 years, there is going to be a day that I expect that there could be a panic out of the dollar. Then the Bitcoin issue is going to be a much bigger issue.
I want to get your thoughts on some of the other big issues of the day. Primarily, let's start with your son, Senator Rand Paul, Republican of Kentucky, not hiding the fact that he's contemplating a presidential run. You've run for president 3 times. I'm sure you've given him much fatherly advice behind the scenes, but share a little bit of it with us, if you would. What should he look at before he pulls the trigger, and do you think he should go for it?
Well, I think he's going to make up his own mind, and I had my opportunity to give him advice when he was much younger. So he's been a pretty independent person, which you would expect, and he's very libertarian-like, and therefore he will make up his own mind. So I think he probably will. I mean, he's been on TV hinting that he very well might. But I kiddingly say the only advice I give him, he better be very careful. He's doing well. He might get elected, and that's a great burden and a major responsibility, but I think he's handling himself quite well.
Do you want him to run?
I want him to do what he wants to do. I'm probably not, you know, too much into or encouraging other people to do what they want with their lives.
All right, fair enough. So I want to ask you your views on this potential deal with Iran, because I'm trying to figure out where you would be on it, and my gut tells me that you would probably be inclined to support a diplomatic deal with Iran, but I don't want to speak for you. A new USA Today Pew Research Center poll shows 32% of those polled approve of the interim nuclear pact with Iran, 43% disapprove. What do you think?
Yeah, I think under the circumstances, it's a great breakthrough. And during the campaign, you heard me say very often we ought to do more diplomacy and less shooting from the hip. And we came close to that, you know, just recently with Syria. Now it turns out that there have been many lies told to us, even about the sarin gas. So I would say diplomacy always, if it's available to us. And I think about how Kennedy and Khrushchev got together and talked to each other when we came very close to a nuclear exchange in the 1960s. So yes, I think it's very good, and I just wish it had started a lot sooner. I hope it doesn't end like some of the other negotiations have with Iran. You know, in 2003 there was an agreement that they would back off on enrichment, and then when our side didn't fulfill their promises, they went back to the legal enrichment that they were entitled to, and then Iran was blamed for breaking things up. So I don't want this to be an excuse just to come down hard on Iran, but I'm frightened that the Congress right now, even though I'm always upholding the Congress to try to do the right thing and curtail the presidential powers, I'm afraid Congress is going to come in and block this by just saying, no, what we need are these more sanctions to see how many more Iranian people we can kill like we did in Iraq. Look at how the sanctions killed millions and millions of people in that consequence of that war. And so I hope the president is going to be successful this. I'm cheering him on.
All right. Former Congressman Ron Paul, thank you so much. And if I don't talk to you before then, happy holidays. The exclusive group of